And we turn now to the other side of the race for the new 25th Ward, covering part of Chicago's Lower West Side, including Pilsen and Little Village. The challenger in this race has earned the endorsement of several high-profile Democrats and unions. Aida Flores joins me in our WGN studios this morning to talk about her campaign. Aida, good to see you.
Likewise, this is a very exciting opportunity for us.
I know you are an educator, a mom, you've got your bachelor's from Georgetown and a master's in education. Talk a little bit about your background so people in your ward get more familiar with you.
Well, I'm no stranger to my ward, born and raised in the community of the 25th Ward. I have a very untraditional life story. Became a mom when I was 14 years old and my partner was 15, but we had fantastic support. Our parents came together, community resources at the time, and amazing educators. Ended up earning a great scholarship to Georgetown University and ended up coming back and becoming a high school teacher, and eventually made my way into school leadership and earned my master's at Harvard. Now, my at the time daughter is 23 years old, has grown up in the community, and my 8-year-old, a third grader, is growing up as well in the community. So deep roots in the community as well as in public service.
All right, Georgetown and Harvard. I think I got rejected by both. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You are a progressive, is how you describe yourself. And how does that translate to what your work would be in the city council setting?
It's about being effective. In all of my work as a school leader, it's making sure that we live out those values and we actually deliver on results. So for example, for me, it meant making sure that we had the vaccine clinics ready to go at our schools, that we had food distributions at our schools, as well as in my community, right? It's about making sure that we give all of those resources that I had when I was a teen mom, all of those interventions, and it's about bringing community together to ensure that everyone thrives.
We know that the #1 issue on so many people's minds is public safety and curbing violence and all of that. Now, on your website, where you tell people what your plans are, you talk a lot about fostering a community, the need for treatment and partnerships. But how do you address the current on the street now issues of policing and violence that is better than a long-term solution?
Well, I don't think those are long-term.
Okay.
I think they're part of the short-term as well. When I talk about fostering community, growing up in the community that I grew up, we did face violence. But you know what was different? We had a strong community at the time. We knew each other, our neighbors. We had hoops in the hood where we brought young people together to play. We had street masses. And so I'm not reinventing the wheel. I'm going back to those supports that we've had in fostering community. When we talk about interventions, it's about making sure children have a place to go to at the park, that we're expanding their park hours on the weekends to make sure they have a space to get along, to collaborate, to socialize, to do other things. And lastly, the third thing is that we're actually engaging with all those stakeholders, right? That the police officers that are part of our community, that they do their job effectively, right? Professionally and ethically. So I think embedded in there are both long-term and short-term solutions, to which I have a lot to speak about as an educator and as a principal. I've engaged in so much work with young people, particularly when it comes to this idea of de-escalating children, right? I've always believed you have to come from a place of calm, from a place of an escalated adult cannot de-escalate an escalated child.
And you're talking about the violence component when you talk about escalating and de-escalation. Correct. Of course, all these programs cost money. One of the things your opponent, the current alderman, is proposing is what's called an Amazon tax. Essentially, it's a tax against any business with 50 or over 50 people, and then it would be a tax per employee. But that money would go towards public safety and homelessness and all that. Do you support that?
Yeah, well, the first thing is our alderman is known to talk a lot about big things, right? Unfortunately, what's at stake in this particular race is that he hasn't been able to deliver. And so a stark contrast to someone like him and someone like me is about making sure we have effective progressive leadership. We had budgets that allocated money for violence prevention program. Those budgets were not in favor by our alderman. And so we don't have to go to all of these reinventing wheels. We need to actually make sure that the money we do have does get reallocated accordingly and that we are efficient in city government.
You note that in the ward there's a lot of gentrification going on, but you also talk about the fact that seniors are fighting to stay in their home. So how do you, because gentrification is usually a good good thing in a neighborhood, but perhaps presenting challenges for seniors. How do you balance that?
Yeah, I don't agree that gentrification is a good thing.
Oh, okay.
I think it's a terrible thing, and I think that we need to use every single tool we have to fight against it.
Why is it a bad thing? Only because it often brings neighborhoods back.
It's displacement. It's displacement, and we deserve every single opportunity to thrive in the communities that, that we've grown up in. We deserve the opportunity to have good jobs, to be able to have the opportunity to stay in the community that we're from. And so what that means is that you expand the affordable housing opportunities so we don't have that vulnerability. The second thing it means is that we actually give those resources that we have in city government to our families, to our seniors. Make sure that they actually have their homeowners exemptions, their seniors exemptions. 1/3 of my community actually had those home exemptions, and so as a result, we're all trying to scramble to fight off these taxes that have quadrupled. In my case, they went up 3,000. In some other cases, they went up 10,000, 20,000. And then finally, we need to help them create a pathway to home ownership the way that I did. See, I was very fortunate. I graduated debt-free because I had a Bill Gates scholarship. I was able to become, a public school teacher and purchase a home in my community because I had those, those safety nets provided to me. But I also had a family that united around me and supported me in being able to purchase the home, although it's a single-family home with a crooked little window. Nothing luxurious.
I'll bet it is charming. I want to be sure before we run out of time, you have a chance to talk about education, because I know that's very important to you. But recently, your opponent did get the endorsement of the Chicago's Teacher Union, Cook County College Teachers Union, the Network for Public Education, which is an advocacy group. Has he done a good job in the education area?
I disagree. I think our opponent has done an ineffective job. Our schools have faced some of the largest budget cuts in the city, including my beloved alma mater, Orozco Community Academy. I think there's a lot more that we can do to ensure that we're increasing enrollment, to ensure that we're actually supporting our schools, making sure that we're funding them equitably, not slashing their budgets. We need to do a lot of beautification to some of them and embed outdoor learning. And we need to just make sure we're building the partnerships to actually bring in the resources that we need from our clinicians, our social workers, our restorative practitioners as well. So I think there's more that we should be able to do.
All right, we're about out of time, but you talk about wanting to extend office hours, be more responsive. Is the current alderman not responsive?
Absolutely. He is not responsive to the extent that we had a ward office that has been closed often. Wednesdays was completely off. And in the middle of a crisis of a pandemic, to have a ward office for a community, an immigrant community like mine, not proactively doing outreach,
all right.
It's disheartening.
Aida Flores, he sees things differently, but that's what these conversations are all about. Thank you for being with me.
Thank you.
And we're going to take another break. Coming up next, we're headed south to the 15th Ward. Meet one of the candidates taking on incumbent Raymond Lopez. When we come back.